If you let everyone go, I won't kill you.
Well, that sounds like a really nice offer.
The story begins at Godolkin University, a place built to shape heroes, but in the finale of Gen V Season 2, it becomes a war zone of ideology, fear, and evolution. Episode 8 doesn't open with triumph, it opens with silence, a silence that follows everything that's been lost. Because what's coming next isn't just a fight between students and a corrupted dean, it's the next chapter in the rise of the Supes, a declaration of war that echoes directly into the boys. Give it a thumbs up for more of my videos. The return of a ghost, Thomas Godolkin, the founder himself, has returned, not as a memory or a statue, but reborn, restored by Marie Moreau's blood-based healing powers. He walks the halls like a god reclaiming his throne, every step reminding us that he was never gone, only waiting. The finale wastes no time reminding viewers that in this world, resurrection isn't holy, it's manufactured. And what Marie thought was an act of mercy turns out to be her greatest mistake. When Godolkin takes control of the school's network and broadcasts to the entire student body, he announces his first decree. Everything you knew about ranking, about worth, about heroes is obsolete. The hero rankings that define student ambition are erased. For the first time since Season 1, every Supe is equally terrified. But this reset isn't a second chance. It's a purge. The founder's new order, Godolkin's resurrection, is more than symbolic. He embodies the oldest and darkest idea of the super movement, that Supes were meant to rule, not serve. He rebrands the university into his vision, a place where only the fittest, the most brutal, will ascend. He calls it natural selection. The rest of us would call it fascism. In a single chilling scene, he forces the students into a pledge ceremony that becomes psychological torture. Every student must kneel, repeat his mantra, and perform a humiliating act to prove submission. This is no longer education. This is indoctrination. The moment mirrors the boys' larger world, how Vought manipulates through symbols of hope, while engineering control through fear. Here, Godolkin simply strips away the marketing. He isn't pretending to inspire, he's demanding obedience. Marie Moreau stands at the center of this storm. Her powers, drawn from blood, have always symbolized control through pain. In the finale, that metaphor becomes literal. She's the only one strong enough to challenge Godolkin, yet the reason he's alive is because she saved him. It's a haunting irony, the act of compassion that reignited evil. When she realizes what she's done, you can see it in her face. This isn't the hero's journey she imagined. It's guilt incarnate. Throughout the season, Marie has been positioned as the, quote, new Homelander. A Supe powerful enough to lead, but moral enough to question herself. But Episode 8 shows that morality doesn't protect you from consequences. Her healing power, which should save, ends up becoming the tool that restores the monster. The secret of Compound V1. The turning point arrives halfway through the finale, when Godolkin reveals the true nature of his rebirth. He's not just a man healed by Marie's blood. He's a man enhanced by a forgotten formula. Compound V1. Unlike the modern Compound V, which grants powers but not true immortality, V1 was the prototype, the pure strain. It's the version once used in the earliest Supe experiments during the same era that birthed Soldier Boy and Stormfront. And here's the twist. V1 doesn't just enhance strength or speed, it preserves life, forever. That single revelation changes everything we know about the Supe hierarchy. The gods of this world were not born. They were designed centuries ago. And Vought didn't destroy V1 because it failed. They buried it because it worked too well. By surviving through V1, Godolkin becomes something new. Not a hero, not a villain, but the blueprint for a super immortal elite. A being who sees death as optional and humanity as irrelevant. A war of ideologies. Meanwhile, the students divide. Jordan Lee, Emma, and Andre struggle to choose between rebellion and survival. They've all seen what happens when you defy a system built on control, from the secret labs of the woods to the public slaughter of the last semester. But there's a bigger message underneath their fear. In a world where power means survival, morality becomes a luxury. Godolkin exploits that truth perfectly. He tells them power is not a gift, it's a test. Every Supe in that room believes him for at least a second. That's how he wins. Not through violence, but through persuasion. Then comes the broadcast, one of the most chilling sequences in Gen V. Using Godolkin University's official channels, he streams live to every VOT subsidiary, every Supe, and every citizen who still believes in the hero myth. He announces the end of corporate heroism. No more contracts, no more sponsorships, no more ranking. The age of VOT's heroes is over. The age of Supes themselves has begun. This moment ties directly into the boys' universe. Remember how Homelander has been trying to shift public perception from being a product of Vought to a divine savior? Godolkin's declaration is the intellectual counterpart to that ideology. Homelander acts on instinct, Godolkin acts on doctrine, and together they represent two wings of the same monster, chaos and control, working toward the same future. The hidden message, but buried in the background of the broadcast, is a symbol, the map of the world with highlighted coordinates. Those coordinates correspond to Vought containment sites, places where failed experiments or rogue Supes have been hidden from the public. One of those locations? A site in South Dakota, the same state where The Boys Season 4 revealed Homelander's secret refuge. Another, an abandoned Cold War bunker last seen in Soldier Boy's flashbacks. This is more than an Easter egg. It's a setup for the next phase of this universe, Vought Rising. Godolkin isn't just restoring himself, he's awakening others. The Pope of Supes. When Godolkin begins his sermon, it's clear he sees himself as a messiah figure. He speaks of evolution, destiny, and purity, language lifted straight from history's darkest ideologues. The chilling part is how the students react. They don't cheer, and they don't flee, they just listen. Because deep down, every Supe has wondered the same question. If I'm this powerful, why should anyone control me? That's the seed Homelander thrives on, and Godolkin waters it here. The fall of order. As chaos spreads, the show's visual language mirrors the breakdown of the world. Classrooms turn into battlefields. The pristine walls of the campus, once symbols of prestige, are smeared with graffiti and blood. Even the Godolkin statue, a recurring background image since Season 1, finally collapses under its own weight during the finale. Symbolism doesn't get clearer than that. But even amid the destruction, one theme holds steady: creation through chaos. When Godolkin asks, "Who's next?" it's not just intimidation, it's recruitment. He isn't asking who dares to fight him. He's asking who dares to evolve with him. The moral core, Marie and Jordan. By the time the final confrontation happens, Marie and Jordan have both changed beyond recognition. Marie isn't fighting for approval anymore. She's fighting to stop herself from becoming what she hates. Jordan, who once balanced between masculine and feminine identities, now balances between justice and survival. Their fight against Godolkin is brutal, but it's also symbolic. Two young Supes facing the man who built the very system they were born into. And even though they manage to wound him, using Marie's powers to disrupt his bloodstream, he simply regenerates. You can't kill what doesn't die. In the end, they don't defeat him, they just survive him. And survival, in General Vive, is victory enough. The final scene, the last minutes of the episode, tie directly into The Boys. As the camera pans through the wrecked campus, a news broadcast mentions unconfirmed reports of a new super leadership rising across the globe. The voice you hear? Ashley Barrett, Vought's PR head, is trying to spin chaos into narrative control once again. It's the same cycle repeating corporate cleanup after God-level destruction. Then the shot cuts to the Church of the Collective, where Homelander watches the broadcast smirking. He doesn't speak, he doesn't need to. Because what Godolkin just did, erasing corporate hierarchy and turning Supes into a self-governing class, is exactly what Homelander's been dreaming of. For the first time, he's not alone in his crusade. The season ends with Godolkin walking across the courtyard, the air heavy with smoke and static. His final words echo, "Who's next?" Cut to black. The meaning behind the ending, the finale's ending, isn't about victory or loss. It's about succession. The world that Vought built, controlled, polished, marketable, has collapsed. Now something older, more primal, and infinitely more dangerous has taken its place. Godolkin's rise signifies the birth of a new theology, supremacy without supervision. Marie's survival symbolizes resistance without resolution. She's alive, but her hands are stained with the blood that brought this chaos to life. And the echoes of the boys' storyline mean one thing. The next war won't be about control. It'll be about creation. Who gets to decide what humanity becomes? Those who made the Supes or the Supes themselves? The bigger picture. By introducing Compound V1, Gen V quietly rewrites the entire mythology of the boys. It means that immortality, not just power, was always possible. It means Soldier Boy wasn't the first experiment, he was the survivor of a deeper program. And it means that the coming conflict will involve beings who cannot die, who see time as their ally, and who consider humanity temporary. That's why the finale feels less like an ending and more like an awakening. This wasn't a graduation episode, it was Genesis. Final analysis. At its core, Gen V Season 2 ends where the boys began, questioning what happens when humans create gods, but forget to build cages strong enough to hold them. Godolkin University was never about teaching heroes. It was about designing rulers. And now, the founder has returned to claim his throne. Marie, Jordan, and Emma represent the flicker of resistance, but even they understand. Every time you kill one monster, another wears its face. The world doesn't need another Homelander. It already has one. What it needs is someone who remembers what being human means. And after this finale, no one's sure if anyone at Godolkin still does.